Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here at weatherweb.net, and it is Tuesday the 1st of March. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for being a WeatherWeb a premium member. Now, I'm going to have a bit of a rant to kick off today's look ahead. I hope you don't mind. Well, what would you expect me to do? You may well have seen a story similar to this in your morning newspaper. I've read this both in the Times and the Guardian now, that winter was probably the warmest ever in England and Wales. Now, it looks like throughout this story there's lots of interjections of various statistics. And this is what really gets my goat about the whole climate change, global warming conversation. It's not that I'm going particular on either side of the fence on this. It's just that I keep on about, let's just stick to the facts. Let's just stick to the data. For example, in this Guardian story, there's confusion over what data series is being used. So this is the story, and for example, it talks here about weather records going back into the 17th century, and that preliminary data for the Central England Temperature Series, that's the CET, which, yes, is the longest running temperature series in the world, and damn good it is too, thanks to our ancestors who took the trouble to make decent observations, shows an average temperature of 7 degrees. Well, that's not right anyway, because it's less than that. I'll show you that in just a moment. Beating the previous high of 6.8 degrees Celsius. Now, I'm really struggling with this, and I'll show you why in just a second, because I just can't get my maths to work. And then he talks about the UK mean temperature from the 1st of December to the 24th of February, being likely to set previous records, break previous records set in 2007 and 1989, to be the warmest ever recorded. Now, the problem is there seems to be a link here, an unwritten link between those two temperature series, and I'm sure that UK temperature series that they're referring to actually is the one created by the Met Office that only goes back, I think it's to 1910. So the idea that these two are somehow the same temperature series is wrong. And also, of course, the UK mean temperature for December will be a record if you only go back to 1910, when 1868 was the previous one as far as the CET is concerned. So you really can have a whale of a time picking apart these stats. Now, the problem I've got is with these numbers here. Let me show you why. Okay, so this is the mean CET then so far this year. This is for January and also February, with a CET of 5.4, 5.1 degrees Celsius respectively. Everyone agree? Yeah? Good. Okay, so write down those numbers, 5.4, 5.1 degrees. Now, admittedly, that 5.1 is only up to the 28th of February. But given that Monday was actually a fairly chilly day across the country, you would probably say there won't be much change in that number. Now, these are the statistics for last year, for 2015. And we've got to congratulate the Met Office in making this data available. We have access to so much more data now. And it's thanks to the Met Office for getting that data online. Well, let's face it, you've paid for it, so they shouldn't they? But or make the raw data available to the likes of us, and we'll get it on there for you. But they do it, and that's great. Certainly better than it was. So, 2015. Here we are, December. Now, given that meteorological winter runs from December, January, February, just add up those numbers. That's a 9.7, okay? So, that's 9.7, 5.4, okay? So we've got 9.7, we've got a 5.4, and then we've got a 5.1 on there as well. Gives me a total of 20.2. Do you agree? Yeah? Okay. Divide that by 3 gives me a total of 6.73 degrees Celsius. That's not 7 degrees. That's 6.73 degrees. So I just struggle with these numbers. I just cannot understand it. Now, stick that 6.73 in the rankings, which again, freely available through the Met Office website. And I know this just looks like a heap of numbers, but you've got to rank down the left-hand side there, and then this DJF is the rank for December, January, February, and they go in ascending order. So the coldest December, January, February, the coldest winter in the CET series is actually 1684. Okay, so if we just zip forward down the page now, and we come across the bottom part of the page here, which gives us the 1868-1869 winter here at 6.77 degrees. Okay, yes, we were at 6.73 degrees Celsius this winter, which puts us in there. So it's not the warmest, but it's the second warmest. But it's still important. It still isn't the warmest. You can't go around saying something's the warmest when it's not. Quite clearly, it is not. And this is what drives me bananas about this whole story of global warming and climate change. Because how can you possibly expect the public, people who understandably aren't, daily involved with climate on this basis, to be able to pick and choose these numbers? And of course what it does, it lends weight to the extremists on either side, who very often have vested interest in promoting any particular tale. But you've got to stick to the facts. It's not 7 degrees. It's 6.73 degrees so far. There will be an adjustment because of the final day of winter, but it is likely that it's the second warmest. And the warmest was 1869, and bear in mind that that 1869 number is actually back in here. So we got 1869 is actually back in there, okay? So that's well before the dramatic increases we see here in the 20th century. This is well before anthropogenic global warming, and you can see actually what happened in the following years, quite interestingly, is that temperatures actually fell sharply. So we saw a downward trend in temperatures for several years after. I know that there are respected meteorologists who are quietly saying they'll never publish the data because they're frightened of their own jobs, basically. But there are several respected meteorologists who are predicting that in the decades to come, temperatures are going to fall. I tend not to agree with that, but you've got to respect what they say. And yes, it's a game we're all involved with, and we have to make the predictions, but we have to do it on the basis of sound data. Whew, okay, thank you for letting me get that off my chest. Right. Now, to watch the rest of this video, where we then go into the MGO and how things look through March and start our usual look-ahead discussion, you need to become a WeatherWeb Premium member. You can get 3 days completely free to trial WeatherWeb Premium. You get full access to all of our videos, our musings, and everything else via the site. Just go to weatherweb.net and you can sign up now. Thanks for watching, keep the sun shining, and bye for now.